Hey everyone, it's Evelyn again. I'm going to do some more on this beautiful Mariola Budek picture. I think I'm going to do the clothing in this episode, and we'll see how far I get on this. Once again, I am using Nina paper and Faber-Castell pencils, polychromos to color, and I'm going to be making the sweater purple because it's one of my favorite colors. I'm going to start with the dark purple which is called mauve, which is $2.49. And I want to put in the dark areas and the shadowing on this. And I realized in the last video I did not explain what I am coloring on. I am using a ceramic tile, and the reason for that is the table that I have has ridges, a texture to it, and if I color straight on the table, it has a tendency to put that texture into my coloring page, and I just don't want that. Be great for wood grain, but not for somebody's clothing. Again, I'm doing really light layers here. I just want to put in the shadow and make it so you can tell where the shadow line is. I'm being harassed by my cat who wants attention. And again, I'm not doing heavy. I'm barely touching the page and just laying down the color, so it's nice and light. And I'm kind of going out and lightening the pressure even more as I go out, so that I have a nice blending edge. I am not the best at clothing. I fully and completely admit that. And I know there's others in the community that is much better, but I do what I can to make it look good. I'm sorry, I should be talking, and I'm not sure what to talk about at this point. I think I'm going to make her bow the same color. Bring it down a little. And I'm going to go pretty much all over this area where it's the inside, because it will be darker, and then put a little bit more pressure around the edge. Do the same up here. Kind of shading that in and putting definition, and again along the fold lines. Kind of finding that bow. Gonna make a nice kind of darker line along this hairline because the hair would be hiding some of that back bow. And again, you just want to get an idea of where the color lies, and I can always add more as a defining to define it. As I go. Okay. And I'm going to do this band around her skirt because I want it to match. Also, I'm just kind of loosely laying the color in on this because, as I said, I plan on going over it with a different color to blend it in, but I want to get those shadows placed so that there's a definite ridge line there. And I can add more shadow later if I need it. I want to define some more. And whenever you're doing this on clothing, you want to make sure you know where your folds are. And which way the material is folding. Your darkest areas would be where the material's folded over. Okay. So I'm not the fastest color in the book, but I think I do pretty good. And I'm going to make her socks purple, lavender purple too. And they've got a lot of little folds in them. Because they're crumpled down. There you go. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. It is Saturday night for me. I had to think about that for a long weekend. Weather's kind of been sucky. Last week we had in the Midwest of the U.S. we had 90 degree weather, and then last night there was last night or Thursday night there was a big storm that rolled through, and all of a sudden the weather dropped down and it didn't get above 60 degrees today. So the drop in temperature has been significant, and so perfect day for coloring and just hanging out inside and letting the world go by and not sweating too much about the small stuff. It is a holiday weekend for us in the States. It's Memorial Day, so start with that, and then I'm gonna go with Violet, and I am not going to say Emily and Belinda's favorite Violet. You're turning violet. Well, there, I just said it. But let's go back up here to the ribbon so I get an idea of how this is going to lay down and look. Again, I'm just doing a light layer to see if I need to add more color, because I want this to look pretty pale. And that's my only complaint about the Faber-Castells is I wish they had more purples, or violets and lavenders and that. But overall, I really enjoy the pencils, so I can live without the number of lavenders that I would love to see. I'm gonna put that down for just a second. Pick up that dark purple again, the mauve. I'll add a little bit more definition here to where this fold is and where the edge of this ribbon tie is. There. That's better. You'll notice I'm still I'm not going real heavy, but I want to make sure I get a nice cover on it. I know that people, a lot of people do multiple layers. I have a tendency to do less layers than a lot of other colorists, but I'm trying to get better. I'm not nearly as heavy-handed with my pencils as I used to be. When I first started, I thought you had to lay them on like you were laying on Crayola crayons and push real hard. And I have found the blessing of light layers get a better effect whenever you're coloring, which is, it's a hard lesson to learn, and I have to constantly remind myself to not press down with my pencils. And if I'm rushing, I have a tendency to press harder. So I try very hard to keep the pressure light. And as much as I've been told, oh well, you need to move your hand back on the pencil, I don't have much control whenever I do that. I have pencil going all over the place that I don't intend it to go. If I go all the way back to the back of the pencil, it's not a comfortable coloring position for me. Although I have tried it, and you know, as I said, you can try different techniques, and if they don't work for you, you go back. You try something else until you find something that really works for you to get you the results that you're wanting. Again, whenever I stop coloring and kind of move back, I'm moving back at my table so that I can see what it's looking like from afar, because you have a tendency to just, if you're working on one area, you're looking at that area and you're not seeing the overall picture. And I like to kind of go back and look at the overall picture and make sure that it's turning out the way I have in my mind that I want it to look. I'm going to flip this. I know that's a little strange. I'm now upside down, but there's just sometimes whenever to get it to look and keep the pressure I'm right and get it to the way I want it to look, turning the page is perfectly acceptable in my book. I will try not to apologize too much for that, because If you're not turning your page, you're a better colorist than I am. I have a hard time when I am amazed by people who don't turn or move their page around whenever they're coloring to get their hand in a more comfortable position. And I have a tendency to rest my hand on the page. And if I'm working in something that I know is going to smear, I usually put a paper towel over the image. But since I'm doing this on stream or on a video, I want you to see what I've done and how it's turning out. So a paper towel hiding over half my image probably would not be a good idea. And there you go. I don't know, I usually have music or a TV show running in the background whenever I'm coloring. So this is kind of a new experience for me, coloring without music or that. Usually it's a TV show on. Oh, that's turned out pretty cute. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with her collar. Debating whether I want to make it white or if I want it to match the color that I do on the skirt. I'm not sure at this point, so for now I'm going to leave the collar just the way it is. So and I know I didn't do the lips on the little girl. I will go back and do that before I wrap it up. There's certain things I do at the end that makes to finish it up, and that's double check the skin, make any adjustments, double check how the clothing looks. That's the beauty of working with pencil, is you can always tweak. Boy, I have a bad shadow on there, don't I? I'm sorry. My lighting setup is I need to improve my lighting setup, apparently. Get light from both angles to get rid of that glare or the shadow, but at this point it cannot be helped. And it has gotten dark where I'm at, so I don't have the sunlight coming in to offset that. I know this seems like a lot of purple, but it will look cute in the end. And I think just by looking at her, this is a little girl that would have all her socks and sweater and bows all matching. Although it would be kind of fun to maybe do a different color, do multi-colors on her, but I've got a plan in my head, and I'm not going to deviate, because that's whenever things get kind of wacky whenever I do. And I don't want this to be a successful picture for my first video, or first picture on video. So hopefully I will eventually be able to do live streams. That is the ultimate goal. I'll have to find time whenever somebody else is not streaming. There seems to be so many of us colorists streaming nowadays. Whenever I first started, it was hard to find somebody that actually streamed in that. Of course, part of that was I was not YouTube savvy. I realize I missed part of her sock here. I plan on using only 2 colors on this shirt and socks and bow, because I think I can get the depth of color I want using those 2 colors. Okay, now onto the shirt up here. Well, I picked up the mauve because I realized I got kind of a line here and I wanted to feather in, and I have such a harsh line there. So the nice thing about pencils is you can lay down and tweak it to your liking. And I don't go in. I used to color in circles, and I realized I was not getting the look. So I try to do. It's actually bigger circles than small circles. Just get the color down on the first pass. More of a line, the circles overlapping just slightly so that you get even colors or even coverage. And sometimes that isn't very successful. I also have a tendency to occasionally roll my pencil and get rid of that, go to a non-flat side whenever I'm coloring large areas, and then you get streaks. I'm trying to prevent myself from doing that. It's a old habit of mine, and I'm trying desperately to stop it. But coloring takes practice, and if you want to, if it becomes too much of a chore, then it's not, where it's not fun anymore, then it's a chore. Coloring is supposed to be fun and lighthearted and enjoyable, and supposed to just leave all your cares away while you're coloring and you get lost in the image. Okay. That's good for first layer, but I'm going to once again pick up the mauve, sharpen it. Yeah, I'm going to go back up to the bow and define some of this a little bit more shadow, bringing it down to blend it in a little bit more. Now that I have an idea what I'm going for here, what it's going to look like with both colors on board. Make sure that bow's defined. I know we defined it with the outline on the hair, but defining it again with the color or the darker of the colors will make it pop a little bit more. Make sure those ridges are nice and dark. Sure that interior's getting a little bit extra coverage, so there's a defined definition of that it's shadowier. Now I'm making up my own words. Go up here, kind of define the fold a little bit more, define that shadow area of underneath a little bit more. You fill in down here a little bit darker. This can be really subtle. As I said, I want to kind of make her light and airy because she is this is definitely a picture of a young girl, and to me, children seem to be always in pastels and light, whenever they're the cutest. That's just my opinion. I know some children that like dark, bold colors and that, but she just looks like she's not a bold colored little girl. She looks pretty and feminine. That word I can't say. Very delicate. Okay. You'll see that the second layer that I'm putting on seems to darken it up. I'm also adding a little of the same color of the violet to make definition also. Adding an extra layer here and there so that it's not just all dark, the dark mauve, but that curve of the bow, I want to get that kind of in where it looks like it's folded over. So I hope everyone is, here in the States we have a long weekend, so it's a wonderful time to color. I love long weekends. Get kind of revitalizes you to go back to work and do your best. And it looks like it's just going to be a cold weekend for us. Or chilly. I shouldn't say cold. Chilly. We are going into summer, but doesn't feel like summer at the moment. But that's okay. Now, before I move forward, a couple spots here that get covered really well. I am going to take my colorless blender and bring in kind of burnish. And you'll see that the color kind of changes and it brings out that color. I don't do this on whenever I do hair, for the simple fact that it flattens and kind of pulls out the color, and I want those defined strands in the hair. But on clothing and that, as long as it's not fur or hair, I will burnish to even out the color, bring down the tooth, and make it smooth. And contrary to popular belief, you can color once you've burnished. It takes a little bit more effort whenever you do, because the color has nothing to grab hold of, but you can. So if I want to, I can come back later and tweak a little bit more, but I'm very pleased with how this is turning out at the moment. So I don't see the need to, don't think I'm going to need to come back at it, but one never knows. When I take a final look, I may tweak it. Okay, brush that off. Oh, I like how that ribbon turned out. Okay, let's work on her sweater a little, defining those arms a little bit more than what they were. Her bodice. So a lot can be said for just simple lines of color too, to define shape. And I'm kind of going over the grayscale lines. I printed this, the lights grayscale, because I wanted to kind of cover up the grayscale. I wanted to have the grayscale because it helps you define where the folds and shadows are, but it's kind of, you can make sure you cover that up. It makes it look like more of a picture, not just something that you've colored over. Whenever I first started coloring, I would not do grayscale. I thought it was cheating, and it was not true coloring. And I have since changed my mind drastically. I prefer grayscale now, and that was part of my coloring journey. It was to discover the joy of grayscale and how much you can do with it, as opposed to just taking one color, putting it over the grayscale and calling it done. Which is not the case at all. So I'm very glad. I do enjoy most art, whether it's line or grayscale, but I've gotten to be real passionate about the grayscale, I'll be honest. Double checking where my flat side is, because I want to color with the flat side, but I don't want to color it with that point, because it will leave a definite line in my coloring. I want my pencil sharp, but I don't want it, once you've colored for a while, it starts getting a real sharp point on that one side, and you don't want to suddenly have a line of color whenever you're shading. I'm not sure if what I'm saying is making sense. And it's helpful, but I'm trying. I said I've learned a lot from other streamers, so I don't profess to know all the tricks in trade. I do my best, and as long as I'm enjoying it, that is the important part, is as long as I enjoy it. Okay. Yes. Again, I'm going with the colorless blender and blending that out and kind of burnishing it down. I do exclusively now use the Corinne Dash blenders. At one time I was using the liquid blenders, and I was not happy with the results. It seemed to it melted the color and almost made it liquefied, and I could and caused me to lose some of my shading. So I discovered the colorless blender. I'm not and I have not gone back. Okay. Oh, she's looking adorable. Let's do the socks again. Kind of going back, shading, making more definition here on some on her clothing. So there's definitely, you can tell where there's folds, where the cloth actually ends, where it overlaps. That's the whole point of shading. I am not that great on the spectrum of clothing. Tanya, which is Appetite for Coloring, she's amazing on coloring clothes, and I've watched her color clothes, and I still can't seem to master her techniques to get the clothing as beautiful as what she does. But I do try. Which is basically all you can do is try. And I'm just switching between these two pencils. I have a tendency, I'm not used to saying, hey, I'm using this color or this color. I just automatically pick them up and color. And I'm doing the socks probably a little bit darker than I've done the sweater, but they're socks, and there is a shadow on them from the skirt, so if they're a little bit darker, they're a little bit darker. And for this purpose, I'm kind of like she's in sunlight playing versus a single direction of light. I had instructor, whenever I took art in college, tell me you always had to have a defined point of light, and I have found that sometimes that just doesn't work. Not thinking that she was wrong, but whenever you're painting, it's definitely right, but whenever you're coloring, it's more freestyle. Again with the colorless blender. Smoothing that color out, getting rid of the white that's possibly showing through on the paper, blending it into the paper, smushing it down. That's probably my newest favorite word, smushing. I can't remember who said it the first time I heard it, but it's like, oh, that's so appropriate for what you're doing. You're kind of getting it down into those little grooves of the paper, so that that tooth is gone, and the color looks more smooth and even. I may have to go back and touch up that one sock. Now I know I did this ribbon also, but I'm gonna just put those pencils aside and do the skirt, and then I'll go back and do the ribbon on the skirt, so I get a definite design or a deviation of color. Now for the skirt, I'm going to make it turquoise, which purple and turquoise is my favorite color combination. I think they go so well. So I'm going to start with cobalt turquoise. And once again, go in and put in where I want my shadows. Defining those, defining where the skirt is folded and laying over. Bringing it down, making those folds stand. Kind of helped me by doing the skirt without doing the ruffle. Yeah, the ruffle's gonna have to definitely be white to stand out. If it's the same color as a skirt, then it's not gonna stand out. I don't want to make it lavender. So, overcolored the line. And I just did a pet peeve. I try very hard not to wipe with my hand, and wipe with the brush, for the simple reason I had when I first started out, I had several pictures ruined by using my hand and swiping color across other colors, and so I try very hard. It's one of my pet peeves, and there I just did it. Even I'm not perfect on that. I apologize. I apologize for everybody I have yelled at in the past for doing your hand. I'm just as guilty occasionally, so I said I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination in the coloring world. But I do try to do my best. move down a little bit more, bending it out. There you go. Okay, we're definitely getting there. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take light cobalt turquoise and do the rest of the skirt. Again, going over my darker color, bringing it down so it blends in with that the lighter color that I'm laying down. Yes. I know I'm going over areas several times to get that color blocked in. Now I'm going to pick up my purple and define that ribbon. And finish off that ribbon. Doing this, I have found whenever I'm doing clothes, or times like on a skirt, that if you do section by section, it seems to work a little bit better. Or at least it works better for me. I guess that's especially if it's a section skirt like this. Yeah, I think she's coming along and looking cute. They're adorable. And that is why I do section by section. That way I can see how it's coming. I need to add any additional color. I'm not talking because I have a pencil in my mouth. And no, I'm not biting down on my pencil. I am just using it as a temporary hold. another bad habit I have, which I should not be doing, but I do it anyway. Again, bringing out that purple, putting a layer of that purple on. Some shadow and definition to that, to it. Okay. So, as I said, I'm kind of running out of things to say. I guess I'm not that interesting of a person. So, and you know, you want to watch me color, but just watching someone color it with no commentary can be kind of boring. I'm trying my best. I'll get the hang of it, I promise, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do a live stream, although I'm not sure how multitasking on a live stream is going to go for me. I'm not sure if I'm that talented to multitask on a live stream, but I will give it a try one day. When I get the nerves over of doing my first page, just on a video first before I attempted a live stream. Because I really enjoy live streams and interaction. I guess I'm just going to have to take a Emily Illustrator course on how to properly do live streams before I attempt my first live stream. And if that's something you'd be interested in watching me live stream, please let me know in the comments. I would very much appreciate it. Tell me what you think of my color choices and my commentary on how on what I'm doing. I'm not as entertaining by myself as I am with other people. Obviously, don't have anybody to feed off of. And sorry, but my cats already know all my jokes, so I could do bad dad jokes, but since I'm not a father, I don't think that would work. But it's a thought. Let me sharpen here. And as I said, I whenever I sharpen, I'm just like doing 1 or 2 turns in the sharpener. I'm not, and that's one of the reasons I go with a manual sharpener versus a crank or I should say a handheld sharpener, crank or a electric, because I like the control. I like to know how much how my pencil feels in the sharpener, if that makes sense, and how much I'm actually taking off whenever I have my pencil in the sharpener. And again, it's a personal preference. I like that bit of control. I'm a little bit of a control freak on some things. Other times I'm not, but I can be. I think she's looking pretty good. Okay. I'm almost at an hour on this stream, so I may cut this off, finish the skirt off of video, not stream, and come back with the skirt done. I because it's going to be the same process for the other half of the skirt, and then on the next video I'll do the teddy bear and the shoes, and then we'll almost be done. I thank you for watching. I'm going to stop at this point. I'll finish off the skirt, not on camera, and then I will come back and start working on the teddy bear, and I might break out my markers and do a base of markers, and then just fill in and highlight with colored pencils. That's another technique I really like doing, especially to get just an overall base of color, so that you get the basic color down. So thank you again for watching, and this is Evelyn, and I will see you on the next video.